Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the City of Aspen City Council regular meeting for February 25th, 2025. That's a call to order. Could we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Councillor Doyle.
Here.
Councillor Guth.
Here.
Councillor Howenstein.
Here.
Councillor Rose.
Here.
Mayor Tory.
Here as well. With no scheduled public appearances tonight, that brings us to citizens' comments and petitions, an opportunity for citizens to address council on items that are not scheduled for a public hearing. We do ask that you limit your comments to about 3 minutes so that everybody has a fair and equal opportunity to speak. Are there members of the public that wish to talk tonight? Yes, sir. No? Okay. If you change your mind, let me know. Okay. We'll put you at the end of the list. Any public comment this evening?
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Come on up to the desk.
Should have warned them.
This
Yep.
desk?
That'd be great.
Sit?
Sit is great.
Okay.
Your microphones are
over.
green.
I'm Larry Marin here. Just letting the council know about a project that we have been working on, Jake Anderson, Chief Ballantyne, and myself, to bring a helicopter to the Roaring Fork Valley. This came about just a couple of weeks ago, actually, when the DFPC, the state-run group that works on fire protection initiatives, let us know that the helicopter that they had purchased, which is called a Firehawk, it's a $60 million helicopter that was bound to be housed at Montrose, was no longer going to go there. I guess the city and the area around Montrose were unwilling to accommodate that helicopter. So this group has pulled together both the fire department, county, city, and a number of businesses in town, including Aspen Ski Co., to help bring that helicopter to us at Aspen, hopefully housing it at the Aspen Airport. It would increase our capabilities exponentially. This is a terrific piece of machinery and something that we could never afford on our own. So we're working with the airport to see if we can secure space there. It does require a hangar. And now we're working diligently to get space within the community for the pilots and the support staff for the machine. The RFP to the state is due on March the 12th. I spoke to Ski Co today, and they have agreed to give us some of their housing units. Hopefully we can secure some from the fire department, and I was speaking to one of the council members this morning, just right before the meeting. We're hoping to find additional units somewhere so that we can house the pilots, as I said. So we're working on that, and so I guess what I'm asking for is we could really use a letter of support from the city. No commitment, just, hey, we think this is a terrific idea, and we would include that in the RFP. And then any ideas, any help you can give us on housing would be terrific.
Okay, great. So the support letter for the state grant?
Correct.
Okay. Council members, are you supportive of more information or getting a letter like this put together?
Yes.
Thank you. And then as far as housing, we'll have those conversations as well and see what we can.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate it.
I had a question for you about the actual helicopter. What's the nature of it? Is it, does it grab water? Does it drop water? Does it hang a bucket and drop water? Or is it a rescue and personnel carrier?
Yeah, so it's a Sikorsky S-70, which they call in the military a Black Hawk. It's, but this one is purpose-built for fighting fires. So it has a large belly tank underneath, which can hold 2,000 gallons of water. it sucks that water up in extremely fast, in 45 seconds, because it uses its turbines. It can suck that water into that belly tank. It can also hold 13 firefighters, or do search and rescue. It has winches, et cetera. So the first order of business for the machine is to protect us against, do fire protection, but the second order is to do life safety. So this is the kind of thing, especially when we're hot and high during the summer and we have a hurt hiker, this is the kind of helicopter that can go in and get them. So it's a terrific instrument for us.
Interesting. Bill?
Thanks, Tony. Larry, are you working with Allie Hammond and the group that she heads up for the Fire Protection District and Mountain Rescue and the Pickens County Sheriff's Office, and sort of, is this cross-jurisdictional?
Yeah, so here's what I'd say. Jake is my sponsor in this, and he's in the back, so maybe, I don't know if you want to say anything, Jake, but.
Do you want me to do 3 minutes when he's done, or?
Come on up.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, happy to chat about it.
The reason I ask is because if we get requests from another jurisdiction, I want to understand if this is tied together with it or separate, or, I want to make sure we're all working together.
So
productively.
we're working on a very condensed timeline, right? We got this RFI about 2 weeks ago, and they want it done in some sort of proposal to them by the 12th of March. So we realize no one's in a position to be able to commit funds or, make any promises we can't keep. But the way I see this is a potentially $100 million asset for the community, right? A $60 million helicopter, a helitack crew of 10, and a fully managed program with pilots, mechanics, that's all done by the state's aviation program. I feel like I would be remiss in my duties to not bring this forward, right? And so we have been having conversations with different folks at the county, different folks at the airport. These things are starting to come up, but I will say, like, this will also probably be surprising to some people if this is in the paper tomorrow. But we are trying to kind of build that coalition. They're looking for essentially good schools, a hangar, housing, and office space. And, I know none of those things are necessarily easy to come by, right? I think we have great schools, but hangar, housing, office space, boy, we're gonna have to work together to figure something out. Speaking with the state, they're very open to creative solutions and even something initial in the interim and then working towards something permanent. And we've made it even clear with the airport, it doesn't necessarily have to be there if that's an issue, right? This is a fixed or a rotor wing asset that could, if we can get a concrete pad somewhere in a hangar, it's just very early on in the process. I'm glad we're having the discussion, and I'm glad you guys seem generally supportive. Like you said, it's a purpose-built firefighting aircraft, brand new. The state's already bought it. They're gonna manage the program. It's a pretty incredible opportunity.
And the good news is that we have a lot of private support too. So there's private money here to build the hangar, and to do all the infrastructure work that's necessary, so.
Tremendous. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say this is great news. Jake knows I have concerns about the fire danger around town and the amount of fuels that are available. And I'm also really happy to learn that the new ski run looking things up on the shoulder of Red Mountain are actually there as fire breaks for a controlled burn later this spring. This is really, really great progress. Thanks.
That's correct. And those are also excellent control features for us if we needed them for other reasons too, right? Just to manage expectations also though, at this elevation, that aircraft will only probably carry 400 to 500 gallons when it's full of fuel. As it burns fuel, it'll have the ability to carry more. And then, how Mountain Rescue uses the HATS platform, but sometimes to do high altitude rescues. This helicopter with its extra equipment probably won't be the right ship to be rescuing people up at 13,000 feet, especially here, right? But I do think it would be a tremendous asset for the community.
Thank you.
Larry, that housing needs was 6 units, or that you're short?
Yeah, something like 6 units.
But realistically, yeah, they're looking for 18 to 20.
Yep.
And however we can package that, and they're even open to creative solutions in the short term if we're working on something longer term. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Other members of the public for public comment this evening?
Hi there. I'm Francis Stuckins, Mayor Tory, members of City Council. I'm thinking about the vote coming up next week, and you know, we have a lot of stuff to think about, but mainly you've been dealing with issues that are it's hard to manage what's happening, and you're doing the best that you can. I feel really good about what's going to happen in the vote. I'm here to give my support to John Doyle and Rachel Richards. Whatever happens with you, Tory, I hope you're still part of City Council after this election. And I'm thinking referendum 2 is a good idea to have the bridge, a second bridge, and then I stress, and you know, I'm nobody, I'm just a voter. I've been living in town a long time. And I'm glad we have a voice out of 6,000 people. I'd like to see more ideas for multimodal transportation, because what we really need to do, and I'm reading about this unnamed coalition that wants to also reduce greenhouse gases. They have environmental concerns. And I know a lot of these guys, Alan Fletcher, Sarpa, Dwayne Romero, and we've been building the town to full capacity. If we can get less cars into town and yet more people and keep the workforce going, I think that would be great. You know, I write science fiction. I'm on the radio. I think I have a lot of ideas, but are they realistic at this point? Maybe. I'd love to see a big future for Aspen and be able to, again, take care of air pollution, particulate matter in the air. Maybe more snow will come, and we won't have this early springtime that's happening. You know, and I'm glad to be a freak and be part of this, you know, maybe it's a gonzo resurgence. I hope so. And I'd love to see the Armory have a big community space instead of a bunch of new restaurants, because we've got plenty already. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening.
Other members of the public for public comment this evening? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council's table for council member comments. Anybody care to start this evening? Go right ahead, John.
I just wanted to remind everybody that we are having a city election next Tuesday, March 4th, and I want to thank all the new candidates for their willingness to run, including Peter Fornell and Marianne Pitt, who dropped out. It does take a lot of courage to run for office, and I want to thank all of you for throwing your hats in the ring. With that said, I'm hoping people will vote for me because I've been doing this for 4 years. I think I've been pretty effective at my job, and I hope I've earned your support. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Other comments this evening? Sam?
I just wanted to tell the rest of the council and the community, I went to the Response opening of the new domestic violence shelter on last Thursday. Money well spent. It is beautiful. It is transformational. It's really going to make a difference in this community. So the grants that we gave and the support that we gave, the tangible results are there, and we all should be very proud of that. And thanks to Response for what they do, and that building is beautiful. So.
Thank you. Order, Bill?
No comments this evening.
Thank you. I have a few comments. I want to start by congratulating the Aspen High School boys and girls ski teams for their Alpine State Championship. Can I get a round of applause? most of you have seen the news about it, but it was held right here at Aspen Highlands. For the boys, this is their 12th state championship. For the girls, it is their 11th state championship. And if you saw any of the races or saw some of the action that was happening, kudos to both teams. The girls got out ahead the first day and maintained that lead. The boys had to fight hard to come back. And the coach's comments really reflected that it was a team effort, which is really neat for an individual sport like it can be, to have team members rally together and really push each other to get to state championships. So congratulations to them. I wanted to make a quick backcountry warning. If anybody is getting out in the backcountry right now, avalanche danger is still very high. Not just high, but deceptive as well. We're seeing slides on slopes that normally don't slide, perhaps, and those can even be well-worn or used slopes. They are still sliding. So please, if you're getting out in the backcountry, use extreme caution. I wanted to briefly talk about the election that is coming up. That's right, if you haven't heard, Tuesday, March 4th, there is an election. Right now, we're tracking just slightly below 2 years ago municipal election numbers. So make sure you tell all your friends and family to get to the polls. Make sure you vote. If you're going to put your ballot in the mail, you should probably do that mid this week. You know, the way the post office is working these days, the sooner you get it in, the better. To be sure, you can drop it off before 7 p.m. Here at City Hall. Before 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Make sure you vote. I as well am running for a city council seat, so I just want to take one moment and say that, you know, I've done a lot of work over the years for the environment and housing and building community. And while I like to think that I balance progress and preservation, and I would be honored to continue working for you. So I ask for your vote as well. There are 2 citizen referendums on the ballot, and these can be a little confusing to folks. You know, I think that there's downside to both of them. For me, I'm not really supporting either referendum measure. I support a no vote on both of them. They don't achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve. I think that there are benefits to some, but there's also downside to both. And I think that what we need to do is keep the control and power in this community's hands, and that's the best way to do it. I don't see any agenda amendments this evening. Thank you. And our acting city manager's comments tonight. Any, Diane?
None for me, thank you.
And an opportunity for board reports. Are there any brief board reports for this evening?
APSHA retreat.
Yeah, we had an APSHA retreat last Thursday at Toklot, beautiful facility, setting our 5-year strategic plan for APSHA. And that should be coming out real soon. I think the number one priority that I recall, John, was 100% compliance, which has its upsides and downsides, but if we want to maximize utilization of our resources, I think 100% compliance is necessary.
Yep. That was, compliance was goal number 1, quality was goal number 2, community was goal 3, leadership was goal 4, and additional goals will be determined later. I also attended a Nordic Council meeting last week where we adopted new bylaws and articles of incorporation. That was months in rewriting those and getting those to being adopted. The new terms for officers are 3 years with a maximum of 2-year terms. It passed unanimously. We discussed our management plan, not a master plan, and we are going to draft a new one. After we approve the draft, that's going to go to open space and trails, then the public will weigh in, and then that will be adopted. The snowmaking study and report for snowmaking, Nordic snowmaking out at the golf course and the high school will be due is going to be out in 6 weeks. And that's it for Nordic Council.
Thank you. Board reports, just briefly attended ACRA this morning. We had presentations. The business breakfast was held last week, so we had an update on that and a little bit of presentation from the Public Affairs Committee. But more than anything, it was kind of just a roundtable talk today as we're heading into the election. Not a whole bunch of business to be handled today, but just a bunch of updates at ACRA. That'll bring us to our consent calendar this evening. Our consent calendar tonight is Resolution 17. This is an IGA for wildfire air tanker support and coordination. Resolution 20, confirmation of City Council direction on Armory Hall land use application. Resolution 21, finishing Touch Dirt Worx contract for volleyball sand. Resolution number 22, Earthscape playground equipment fabrication for Wagner Park. Resolution 24, 25, and 26. This is the Wrights Road Waterline Project. Resolutions 27 and 28 for the Red Brick Gymnasium roof replacement. And resolution number 33, appointing Katherine Johnson as city attorney. Let council members know that I would like to pull resolution 17, resolution 20, resolution 22, and resolution 33. Are there any others that anybody needs discussion on? We'll start then with resolution 17. I wanted to bring this up. This is the IGA for wildfire air tanker support, and kind of interesting on the heels of public comment, a little bit more. And I really wanted these guys to come up just to share with the public some information, along with what we just heard as a request, or a hopeful request, maybe I should say. This is another measure that the city, Fire Protection District, the county, and others in the coalition are looking to take in order to address the potential threat of wildfire in our area. The reason I wanted you guys to come up is, more than anything, I wanted to just address some of the anxiety that is going on around wildfire threat in our community. So with that, if somebody would like to just tell us a little bit about what Resolution 17 means to the community.
Yep. Council Mayor, thank you for the time. Want to introduce some folks here that you may not know. We got Jake Anderson with the Aspen Fire Protection District, and then Captain Andrew Treat with the Aspen-Pekin County Airport. Really, they're the experts in this process, so I'd really like to leave it to Jake or Captain Treat to really tell us the ins and outs of this.
Go for it. Oh, I guess I'm the guy. So, hey everyone, thank you for having us. Basically, what we like to present is an initiative between the City of Aspen, the Sardi Field Fire Department at the airport, and the Aspen Fire Protection District to essentially use the airport to resupply state firefighting aircraft locally. One of the things is the state does have some tanker bases throughout the western slope, but those are only open for certain parts of the year, only about 90 days or so. So having the airport available year-round, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to reservice those firefighting aircraft really makes it cuts the turnaround time for those aircraft down tremendously. For example, right now, if we were to have a fire, we'd have the aircraft come from the front range, they would drop a load of retardant, they would have to fly back to the front range to reservice. Where with this agreement, it would allow the aircraft to then land at the airport, we can fill them up with about 800 gallons of water, they could return to the fire and make quick drops to suppress any kind of wildfires a lot quicker. So it was really an initiative between our three groups to come together and make this available to not only our community, but to communities adjacent to us as well.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from council members?
No, just a big thank you for bringing this to the table and giving us the opportunity to have this in our community. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess what I would say is thank you to Tyler, Justin, Andrew, folks at Sardi Field for being open to this. And, I said the same thing recently at the commissioner meeting. Thank you guys for promoting good managers, hiring good people, because people that are open to these types of collaborative efforts that's what's gonna make the difference, right? These are creative ideas. When this first came up, there were plenty of people saying, no, it's a dumb idea, don't do it. And to be clear, we would have used this once in the last decade, right, when Lake Christine happened. Would have been the only time, and I hope we never use it. But having the ability, especially because the airport, if we have another fire in the Upper Valley that's using aircraft, they usually put a temporary flight restriction in place, so it might be shut down to normal traffic anyways. These guys are still there as our firefighters, and they're just gonna be repurposed over to filling up these single engine air tankers. And again, just to manage expectations, these are the crop duster sized 800 gallons. They're not the 10,000 or 8,000 gallon VLATs that we're talking about. So a quick turnaround is actually really important for them to be effective. So yeah, that's what we were actually here to talk about. So glad we got you guys a little teaser on the other stuff. And just to manage expectations there too, with the helicopter thing, they are just looking for a proposal. Like, that's not a done deal in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you for trying everything you can do to increase our resiliency and options and strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really appreciate having this extra tool in our toolbox, especially in this day and age. Thanks.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 20, confirmation of city council direction on Armory. I just wanted to pull this up because, I voted no on it 2 weeks ago. I just want to make my points clear. What I was asking for in this resolution number 20 is that I was hopeful for some HPC comments going into the process. Oftentimes I see process like these go on. It goes to a city council table, it goes back to a design charrette or community outreach, and we come back with designs, and then it goes to HPC. HPC weighs in on it, but at that time, maybe the changes aren't as available or as desirable because they've been kind of put into the planning efforts to that point. So what I was going to ask for tonight was for council to consider sending the preliminary drawings and the preliminary renderings that we have to HPC to get them to weigh in on it. But in my conversations today, I understand that even in this process, as it moves forward, it goes to HPC sometime in April. Is that correct, Jen?
So my name's Jen Phelan, Development Manager of the City of Aspen. Mayor Tory, this is a process, it's a two-step review process, so it goes to a public hearing before HPC for them to review the project, receive public comment at that meeting, and make a recommendation to council on the application. It would then go to City Council at a public hearing again for council's consideration of the project with the input gathered from HPC.
Do you expect at this time that it will get to HPC sometime in April? Is it?
I'm guessing might be in May at this point.
Okay. So I want this to keep moving forward. I don't look for delay in this. I don't know if there's any desire by other council members to get a preliminary review or get some input is really all I'm asking for from HPC. But if it's in April, if it's coming in May, 2 months away, not that far, if it's in part of the process, I'm okay with that. I can support that moving forward unless anybody else feels the necessity to have HPC weigh in or at least give some advisement. Ward.
Yeah, pardon me, it's my understanding this is for land use, and I think final design can come up at a future date. Is this?
They'll be giving a recommendation on the design also. And just for background, we felt as staff the appropriate step would be to talk to historic preservation staff. So that's why you saw an amended design on the Hopkins facade, because we brought the original design to staff. They had some concerns. We made changes to it. So we have been working through staff to discuss aspects of the design. we feel the next step is a public hearing before the Historic Preservation Commission for them to consider the land use components as well as the design components so that they can make a recommendation to you on all of them.
Thank you for that. I don't see any other questions at this time. Last thing I'd say is, you know, it's been interesting during this campaign. I've heard a lot of commentary and feedback about the programming on the interior. And I took a moment in our last meeting to say it, and I just want to say it again. I hope that this council and next council will really think about the programming for that third floor. I am not hearing support in this community for two market rate restaurants and bars. I'm hearing support for more of a community available space. It can most definitely have food and beverage service up there, but I think that there's a better configuration and programming for that top floor. So I just ask the council members keep that in their minds.
May I speak on that for a quick, brief moment?
Sure.
Just, again, with background, we've had 4 outreach sessions with the community, which represented in participation in Aspen Community Voice with 660 people participating in that. In person, we've had multiple focus groups and open houses, and I'd say that's about 340 people who attended. There is community space. It's located in the basement for programming reasons, but there's opportunities for community space on the top floor that you're talking about also, with the ability to, what we'd call the velvet rope, to be able to rent some of that for different options too. So I'm hoping that through this process, people will be able to really get a better understanding of the flexibility in the programming of that building overall.
I would love to too, because what we've seen to this point hasn't really iterated that. So I hope that's the direction it's going, but from what I've seen so far, it hasn't been. But thank you so much. Thank you for the information. Question?
Yeah, I just want to commend Jen on the outreach that she's done and the listening and incorporation of that feedback that has happened so far in the design process. And I know it's a reach, I know it's a stretch, I know we've never had anything like this in Aspen, but you know, I think John or Ward used the term student commons at some point in time, or I think that was the term that was used.
Student union.
Student union, thank you. And I really think that this is what this building will de facto function as. I think you have the option for sort of larger community events in the basement, but I think the pressure and the moat of having to purchase something that you have at a traditional restaurant or cafe or bar goes away when you have this type of food hall format. And I think people will feel comfortable to come and just hang out. And we've got the games sort of area on the middle floor now, which I think will be excellent for sort of teenage type of people in addition to adults and younger kids. I think this will be a community space. I think it'll be a vibrant community space. I understand that it has to have, I personally understand that it has to have a food and beverage component to make the economics work and make this sustainable for the long term. But I think that this is going to achieve the goals of so many in the community, and I think you have to have a little bit of trust in the process that Jen has led so expertly.
I've been part of the process the entire time, so I'm fully aware of it. Once again, my concerns of what's been shown to me about 2 full kitchens on the second floor, the top floor, if you will, and the bar service, and what I've seen as iterations do not create that community hall or the space available to do some of the venue rental that I think it should be doing. Some of the gathering that it should be doing. I appreciate that there is some room in the basement for community meeting space and the like, but I think that should be elevated to the top floor. I have a concern that if it is operated as 2 restaurants on the top floor, that you're going to see the same kind of pattern that you see with other restaurants in town, which means that they will be closed during most off seasons, if not all off seasons. I have my concerns. I am glad to hear that it's kind of moving in the right direction. but I still have my concerns. You talk about the game area on the first floor. A pool table and a shuffleboard table, to me, are not meeting those needs and not really fulfilling what we're looking for there. So I think there is greater opportunity here, and I look forward to be part of the process as we go forward. This is my community, and whether I'm sitting at this table or not, I'm definitely going to be participating in what the Armory becomes. But I do thank you for all your work. You've been fantastic on this whole project. I know I've been a thorn in your side, and I apologize for that, but you know, this is what working together means. It's about give and take and compromise and listening to each other. So I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you so much.
No, we want the best product for the
I
community.
know you do. Yeah, you always have. Thank you. Next one, I was looking for a little information on resolution number 22. This is the Earthscape Playground Equipment Fabrication for Wagner Park. I'm wondering if you guys can share a rendering that we have in our packet.
Give me a second and
Do
we
you have
can.
the ability to pull that up?
I bet Matt can do it.
Give me 2 seconds. While I do that, let me make a quick couple introductions. Sitting to my right is Mary Oliver. She's a landscape architect and project manager on our team, and Mike Tente is our parks construction and project manager, landscape architect, construction manager. And I'm Matt Kuhn, Parks and Open Space Director. Just before we dive in on the rendering, I do want to recognize that about this time last year, we came to you all with a donor agreement from two generous residents of Aspen, Brett Muffson and Scott Tarbett, came to us with an offer of $250,000, which we matched via resolution with City Council last year. And that is what kicked off this project today. While I'm pulling up the rendering, are there any questions?
Is there an agreement around the donations? Is there an ask from their side, and what would their ask be?
All right, there we go.
Yep.
We do have a formalized agreement that was brought to council on February 13th, 2004. We worked with our donors and Jim True to develop that agreement and how much money we would match, what the donors were matching, and we got into pretty specific language on how the process would go.
Did it involve any other agreements, naming rights, plaques, those kind of things?
Our donors are not interested in renaming the park. They are interested in a plaque that commemorates their donation, which we think is a pretty reasonable ask. So there will be a plaque somewhere near there that acknowledges the generous donation.
And the terms of that were spelled out in the donation agreement in that resolution in 2024.
Board?
Excuse me, I was looking through the 2024 and 2025 budgets, and I didn't see that as a capital project. Has this been accelerated because of the generous grants?
This is in our capital budget for 2025. So we're looking to order the equipment and have it built this year.
I thought I recalled that this was accelerated because of the grant, the timeframe on it.
Yeah, in 2024, we created this project to match their grant.
And Ward, it was a timely acceleration, if you will. We are having challenges with the existing play structure. When this opportunity presented itself, it made a lot of sense to move it up in the queue.
I agree.
Bill?
Thanks. A few things. One, I'll make the disclosure again. Scott and Brett are close friends and business partners of mine. I have nothing to do with this idea. That came entirely from them, and would approve it regardless of who it came from. Secondly, I think that this design is fantastic, and I'm super excited for it.
Can you point your mic
Sure. Thank you. I think the design's fantastic. I'm super excited for it. I have 3 kids that fall right in the target age group for this park, and I'm just beyond excited to see this come together. Thank you for all your hard work and design and creativity on this. It's certainly not ordinary playground equipment, and I know that was top of mind for you, and doing something that very much fits Aspen and feels good and unique and high quality and fun. And lastly, I would encourage you to explore, I personally know one person who's interested in this, but I don't know that it was contemplated in your budget. Is there a way to either save some money or generate some additional money to offset the costs of this project by offloading the existing equipment? I think there might be interest in that. So we don't need to get into great length at that, but I would encourage you to do so.
I'll just quickly answer that because it's come up a few times in the community. It's not as simple as just pulling the tooth and moving it to a new location.
Pulling the tooth.
It's quite integrated. It has deep roots. There's a lot of concrete. That's a custom structure that was built. And so the way it was constructed is with rebar and deep foundations, and then foam with concrete on the outside. It's not going to be something we're going to be able to relocate. It's unfortunately has to be demolished to come out of there.
Got it. Thanks for exploring that.
You designed the one in Heron Park as well? Is it your group or?
I'd say like all design, we work with the community, we work with our consultant team. It's an iterative process, so we were involved in that, and it is with the same playground vendor, Earthscape Play. So it was a pretty similar process that we've undertaken.
Yeah, I've seen kids down there just thoroughly enjoying themselves.
When we visited this a year ago, I think my only request was to think about a safety netting during the Rugger Fest, and I hope that's still in consideration. Every year I go out there, and an interesting thing about rugby is there are actually times where you kick the ball out of bounds on purpose, and down in the corner by the goal is kind of where you want to do it. So I always just have a concern, if there's any possibility of protective netting during that event, that'd be great. But the reason that I asked for you to come up and share this rendering is because this is such a beloved park for our community and our guests. And I just wanted to make sure that this image is out there for folks so that they can start understanding that change is coming. The tooth is rotten and needs to be pulled. So I just thank you so much. I agree with Bill. When I saw this, I didn't have any objection to the design. I was like, this is really neat to me. But I know that people have an affinity for the rocks that are out there now, and I just want the public to know, change is coming to Wagner Park. It'll be okay.
Wagner Park's going to get a root canal.
That's right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you sharing that with the public.
Thanks for your patience.
Thanks, Matt.
Dory, I have a couple of questions on Wrights Road.
Okay, so we have Resolution 242526. This is the Wrights Road Waterline Project. We have a couple of questions for you.
My first question is on the funding. Is this coming from the Water Utility Enterprise Fund? Is it going to be paid by the people that are going to, the distribution?
Yep, this is within the Water Enterprise Fund. Yes, Board.
Okay. And then the other question was Black Hills Energy. They're looking at CoA on this. Are they looking at running some gas pipes at the same time?
Yes, we're, Ryan's negotiating as we speak. We don't have a firm commitment, but there are, they have expressed very keen interest in getting a part of this project and some economies of scale for both us and Black Hills.
Okay. Thank you for your efforts on this.
Any other questions for Wrights Road? Thank you, guys. Thank you. And not such a consent calendar without everything being pulled, but Our last resolution on our consent calendar this evening is resolution number 33, and this would be appointing Katherine Johnson as our city attorney. I just wanted to pull this so that we could have
Drum roll, please.
Ms. Johnson come up, say hello, a few words if she'd like. Obviously, this is, sad and happy for us, obviously, with Jim's, but not real departure. He'll still be here. But it is a very happy day for us because we have so much respect for you and trust in you. And welcome to your new position as soon as we approve this consent calendar.
Thank you. I just want to thank Mayor and council members for the opportunity to continue to serve the Aspen community in the role as city attorney. I also want to thank Jim True. It has been a true privilege to work with you over the last 4 years, and I'm really grateful that I had the ability to learn from such a great attorney and city attorney. I want the public to know I'm committed to serving this community, and I'm going to do my best to provide the best legal support to council and staff. And Jim's been here for 13 years, and I hope I have a long tenure with you all. So thank you.
And we thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Turn off and applaud. Do applause button. I think everything stays on there. I could take a motion for the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote for the consent calendar this evening?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes. Thank you all. No notice of call-up this evening, no first reading of ordinance. That brings us to our public hearings. This is ordinance number 2, amendments to the land use code.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor Tory. For the record, Haley Hart, Long Range Planner. I'm joined by Ben Anderson, Community Development Director, Lisa Byrne, City Attorney Assistant, or Assistant City Attorney. We have a few slides that I'd love to share for second reading. Okay, so in front of you today is Ordinance 2, Series of 2025. These are 2 amendments to the Land Use Code. You saw these 2 weeks ago. Again, these 2 different amendments are unrelated, but we packaged them together as they're sort of on the same timeline here. And so in front of you tonight is a response to Proposition 122, as well as the P&Z meeting day change request. And just as a summary and to sort of reiterate the process, P&Z did recommend the meeting day change request, and they recommended approval of that through Resolution 1, which was approved on January 7th. That was in your memo. Subsequently, Council approved the policy resolution to open the land use code for these 2 amendments through Resolution 5, which was approved on January 14th. And then first reading for the 2 proposed code amendments was passed on February 11th. So here we are at second reading, and staff did conduct limited public outreach in between first and second hearing. So first we'll talk through the response to Proposition 122. As you may recall from first reading, this ordinance has 2 edits in response to the state bill, which we can, at the local level, regulate the time, place, and manner of the operation of the medical business or natural medical business. Those 2 amendments are from our definition section and then from our use category section. So again, just to reiterate, We are adding 3 new definitions within Title 26 for this edit. The natural medicine product, and natural medicine business. And again, those are verbatim from the state bill. And then the second edit is within our use category in Title 26. The use category council found to be the appropriate use and location for this business and the conduct of this business. And again, you've seen these maps before, but to just quickly remind you, the blue circular buffers, those are 1,000 feet from any childcare, preschool, or daycare facility. And then what City Council asked and recommended for this code amendment was the inclusion of the office use category, which is highlighting those zone districts in our commercial core. So this is where the natural medicine businesses will be allowed to conduct business within the city. And so Luis is here to talk a little bit further about the actual rules and regulations of this state bill, both in response to first reading and just to sort of give further color into what to expect as we are seeing these business licenses come into play this year.
Good afternoon, Council, or evening, actually. I thought it was important to go through what the rules were and talk to you a little bit how they might intersect with our regulations, because there were a lot of questions about really how is this going to be regulated, given that we are so limited in what we can do as a municipality. An important point is that they have to store their natural medicine properly and have a security system, and they must have a natural medicine licensed facilitator. So that's for the natural medicine healing centers. So they're not just allowed to be kind of ad hoc. It's a very intense licensure program for the natural medicine facilitator. Another question that we had is, can private property owners prohibit natural medicine businesses? The answer is yes, they can. It's written into the rules. So if a person who owns a building is like, I don't want this business in my building, they do not have to have it. I think that's an important point. And then another question was, how are we going to ensure that when the state licenses them, that they're complying, that we know that they're complying with our local regulations? And the state kindly thought about that. So in order to get a natural medicine business license from the state, they have to prove that they are permitted under the local zoning. So they'll have to demonstrate that they're complying with our zoning code. And they'll have to provide a map that shows that they are in fact 1,000 feet from a child care center. And then, can a natural medicine session be taken off-site? The answer is no, it cannot be. They included that in the rules. They were very clear that these natural medicine healing sessions needed to occur on-site in the natural medicine business, and that they were pretty heavily regulated. However, the other question was, is private personal use prohibited outside of natural medicine business? The answer is no, it is not. Proposition 22 made psilocybin legal for personal use. However, it is subject to similar laws as public intoxication. So you can't use it on the street, just like you can't drink a beer on the street. And under 21 cannot use it. It's a drug petty offense. It's a $100 fine. It's not really the crime of the century, but it is not allowed to be done in public. So enjoy yourself in your own home. Okay.
Yeah, so would we like to pause here before we move on to the next code section and sort of answer any questions? Nope.
Seeing none.
Okay, super. Okay, so that was response to Proposition 122. Again, the second code amendment within Ordinance 2 is the P&Z meeting day change request. Again, this is just the change from the first and third Tuesday of the month to the first and third Wednesday of the month. And just again to reiterate, P&Z did recommend approval. It did go in front of HPC. There was no formal recommendation or resolution in front of HPC, but we did inform them of this date change request. Okay, so with that, staff recommends council approve Ordinance 2, Series of 2025, adopting the code amendments in response to Proposition 122 and the P&Z meeting day change request.
Are there any questions from council members at this time? This is a public hearing on ordinance number 2. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment on the amendments to the land use code as proposed? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council table.
I will make a motion to read ordinance number 2, series of 2020.
This is the second reading.
Second reading.
So you would make a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2, series of 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote for ordinance number 2, please?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see what happens. That'll bring us on our agenda to our action items. This is resolution number 32 of 2025. This is the approval of a separation agreement. Are there any questions from council members at this time? If not, then I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 32.
Second.
A motion and a second. Opportunity for further discussion?
I want to thank Sarah for her many years of service to the community and to the city staff. She oversaw getting us through COVID-19, has done a lot for structure and protocols for the city, and I'm appreciative for her time with the city and wish her all the best in the as she goes forward with her life in the next chapter.
Thank you, Ward. Any other comments? Sure.
I'll echo Ward's comments and also add that this was not a process and decision for anyone taken lightly, and I look forward to sort of the future of what we can accomplish and new leadership can bring to the city of Aspen. Thanks.
Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, I just want to thank Sarah for her service to this community. She really was wonderful, and I wish her all the best in her future endeavors.
Thank you. John, any words?
Yes, I'd like to thank Sarah for her years of work for the city. She guided us through COVID, and we made a great deal of progress under her tenure here. I think we're going to miss her, and I wish her the best of luck in on whatever path she chooses.
Thank you. I want to echo the same sentiments. Sarah's service here and during my terms as mayor, she was invaluable. She brought a lot of experience and talent to the city. We're definitely thankful for so many things that, and the list is long, starting with COVID, new city hall facilities, new organizational structures and the like. I mean, just on and on. Her knowledge and experience is going to pay dividends for any other community that she goes to. So to Sarah, thank you so much for the service to Aspen. With that, could we have a roll call vote for resolution number 32, please?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes.
Motion for adjournment, I guess?
Do it, Sam.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote for adjournment this evening?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes. As always, we want to say thank you to Grassroots TV. We appreciate you. And there's an election next Tuesday. We will have no city council meetings Monday or Tuesday of next week. Please get out and vote. Tell your friends and family to vote. Good night.